non-propensity reason that goes to him providing cleaning supplies to clean up after this act. Okay? Parties wish to address this matter further?
No.
All right, John, party next witness.
Michelle Johnson, Your Honor.
Solemnly swear affirm the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you.
Yes.
Good morning, ma'am. Would you please state your name and spell your last for the record?
Michelle Johnson, Johnsson.
What's your profession? What do you do for a living?
I'm a crime scene investigator with the Chattanooga Police Department.
How long have you worked as a crime scene investigator for the Chattanooga Police Department?
Approximately 7.5 years.
Did you have any experience in law enforcement prior to becoming a crime scene investigator?
I also worked 16 years in corrections.
Have you received any kind of specialized training that assists you in the performance of your duties as a crime scene investigator?
Yes, I have.
What is that?
As a crime scene investigator, we go through 6 months of on-the-job training with a senior crime scene investigator, hundreds of hours of specialized training, including 400 hours for attending and graduating from the National Forensic Academy. It's a 10-week intense training for crime scene investigators.
Day to day, what does a crime scene investigator do for the police department?
We respond to normally major case crimes and process the scenes.
I'd like to take you back, if I could, to November the 22nd of 2022. Do you recall the events that took place on that day?
Yes.
Were you working as a crime scene investigator on the 27th of November?
Yes.
On that day, did you have an opportunity to assist with a, collection of evidence?
Correct.
Do you recall what location you first went to on the 27th?
I was notified around 10 p.m. by Detective Crawford, and he requested that I respond to 5977 Old Dayton Pike.
And do you know the significance of that location?
He had informed me that he was working a missing person case, and he asked me to respond to this location where the missing person, or Jasmine Pace's mother was, and collect items of evidence that had been taken from Jason Chen's apartment.
Do you recall specifically what items you collected?
I collected electronic devices. I believe there's some clothing, some notebooks, Jasmine Pace's ID, along with several credit cards belonging to her.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 12. Are you familiar with this photograph?
Yes, that's the photograph I took. That's the in the manner in which I received the items.
And when you say the items, are those the items that you just described to the jury, the clothing, the notebooks, the electronic devices?
Yes, sir.
I'm now showing you what has been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 11. Can you describe what we're seeing in this photograph?
Yes, there's 4 cell phones, a Polaroid camera, and a tablet or laptop.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm handing you what's been marked for identification purposes as Exhibit number 139. Could you take a moment to familiarize yourself with this?
Okay.
Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, it's the identification for Jasmine Pace and her cards.
Did you take that photograph?
Yes.
Was it taken at the Pace residence or another location?
It's hard to tell. I may have taken it when I got back to the office just to take more detailed photographs.
Is it common practice to collect evidence at a location and then further photograph it once you take it back to the police department?
Correct, yes.
Specifically, ma'am, why would you want to do that?
It's just a more controlled environment, and we can lay things out and have better lighting also.
Does that photograph fairly and accurately depict the IDs that you collected from the Jasmine's residence?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 10. Do you see the items in the lower left-hand corner of Exhibit 10?
Yes.
Are those the same documents and IDs that we see in Exhibit 139?
Yes, that's correct.
They are at this time. I would move to admit into evidence Exhibit 139, the photographs of IDs and credit cards.
139.
That helps you hear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm now going to show you. Can I have the document?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, did you have an opportunity to compare the names on the various credit cards and the driver's license?
Yes.
Are they all for the same person, Ms. Jasmine Pace?
Yes, I believe they were.
And specifically, what is Truist and SunTrust?
Those are banking institutions.
Same with Capital One?
I believe they have banking and credit card services.
Thank you, ma'am. Back to DVD card. In addition to the items that you collected from Ms. Katrina Pace in the box that we saw previously, did you do anything else?
I also documented with digital photography the residence where Jasmine Pace was residing.
Specifically, could you describe the location that Ms. Jasmine Pace was residing?
It was just below her mother's house. It was I guess a pool house. Just an open room and a bathroom.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what has been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 17 to this trial. Did you take this photograph?
Yes.
And what does it depict?
It was the shower inside the bathroom.
Ma'am, is that location located inside what we see here in Exhibit 14?
Yes, that's correct.
After you collected these items, the photograph, the items shown in the photographs, including the electronic devices, Jasmine Pace's credit cards, her driver's license, what did you do with those items?
I secured them inside my crime scene vehicle.
And after you secure them in your crime scene vehicle, what do you do with them then? What's the next step?
Normally, if I go back to the crime scene office, I would package and seal them and secure them possibly in the evidence vault and eventually turn them into our property and evidence division.
You mentioned the evidence vault. Is that different than the property and evidence division?
Correct. It's a secured vault we have inside the crime scene office where we keep evidence that we are still packaging or processing.
How do you prepare a document for submission to a particular, to the property?
The first thing we do is an evidence report for all the items we collect. Then we have to complete a property sheet. We also have to complete labels to identify the evidence inside the bags, and we place those labels on the outside of the bags.
What type of bags do you use?
Brown paper bags or cardboard boxes sometimes.
Why would you use one over the other?
Just for size, if something's really large, we may have to use a box.
And does all of the packaging, the preparation of the property report, so on and so forth?
The investigator who normally collects the evidence, I would have packaged this stuff.
Specifically in this case, those items you collected from Ms. Katrina Pace at her residence on Old Dayton Pike, did you go through that process?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, the items that you collected from the Pace residence, are they assigned a number before they're submitted to the property room?
Correct. Once they're added to our evidence report, they are assigned a number.
Specifically, the items that you collected, the notebooks, Your Honor, for the record, I'm now showing Exhibit 10, the credit cards, the keys, the clothing. What numbers did you assign for this collection of evidence?
Without looking at the evidence report, I believe they started with 74. I'm not sure though.
Why would you start at 74? Was this the first place that you went?
It was the first place I went.
So if it's the first place you went, why did you start with 74?
When we respond to a crime scene, we have a primary crime scene and then we have secondary locations. The primary crime scene is going to take precedence over a secondary location, which in this case, going to Jasmine Pace's residence was a secondary location. And once we go to a primary location, we use evidence markers, which are numbered markers, placards, yellow placards, and we begin marking our evidence with number 1. And so when we use evidence markers on the primary scene, that number has to correspond with our evidence report and with the item number on the property sheet. So in other words, the items we mark with evidence markers will be listed first.
Okay. So the bottom line is, if you started at 74, that would be indicative of going to another location.
Okay.
Did you in fact go to another location?
Yes, I did.
What other location did you go to?
Detective Crawford requested that I respond to 110 Tremont Street, apartment 210.
When did you go to that location at Crawford's request?
I arrived there right around midnight.
What time did you arrive at the Dayton Pike location?
Not for certain. I think it was probably around 10:30.
During between the time that you arrived at 10:30 and then when you got to Tremont Street very late in the evening, what were you doing? What were your activities?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What were you doing between when you arrived at Dayton Pike and when you eventually arrived at Tremont Street?
I was taking photos of Dayton Pike and collecting those items that Detective Crawford had requested that I collect.
Thank you. When you arrive at a crime scene such as 110 Tremont Street to conduct a search, is that typically incident to a search warrant?
Correct.
When you arrived at 110 Tremont Street, was there already a search warrant there?
I believe Detective Crawford had notified me via phone that he had signed the search warrant. I'm not sure if it was physically there yet or not.
So after the warrant is obtained, is that when the search begins?
Yes.
Specifically, ma'am, do you recall the location that you searched at 110 Tremont Street?
As far as the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, apartment 210.
Could you describe to the jury what apartment 210 looked like?
There's a small apartment, kind of a shotgun style, where pretty much one way in, one way out. Entered into the living room area, then there was a kitchen, and a laundry area, and then a bathroom, and then the bedroom.
Now, would you walk the jury through the process that you as a crime scene investigator go through to search a location such as the one that you just described?
The first thing we would do is an initial walkthrough, and during the initial walkthrough, we'll look for any evidence in plain sight. During this time, we don't disturb anything. And we also formulate a plan of action as far as processing the scene, and just get an idea of the layout of the crime scene that we will be processing.
Would you describe the initial walkthrough as an actual search for evidence?
Anytime we walk through a crime scene, we are continuously searching. But during the initial walkthrough, we don't move anything, we're searching inside of anything. We don't disturb anything during the initial walkthrough, but we do search.
As you begin to process the scene, do crime scene investigators produce any kind of documentation that helps them remember where items are collected?
Yes, we take written notes, and we also do a scene sketch marking the location of where items are recovered from.
What was your specific role at 110 Tremont Street?
My role was to document the scene with digital photographs and collect the items of evidence.
Who was the lead crime scene investigator at that location?
I was.
Now, I'm going to be showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as Exhibit 140. Are you familiar with this document?
Yes.
What is Exhibit 140?
This is a diagram that investigator Sarah Brown created based on her sketches of the crime scene.
As the lead crime scene investigator, were you aware that she was producing that sketch?
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to review that sketch?
Yes.
Is it to scale?
No.
Okay. Does it fairly show the general location and proximity to various other items that were collected from 110 Tremont Street?
Yes.
Does it assist you as a crime scene investigator in explaining where in the apartment things were located? Joe?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I would move to make this the next exhibit.
Exhibit 140.
All right. I'll publish it to the jury judge.
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you see the television? Barely?
Yes.
Okay. I know it's not the clearest. You know how to use cell phones, et cetera? You can pinch
Okay.
and make bigger, okay? Can you see this clearly? Would you like me to make it a little brighter for you?
Yes.
Could you please orient the jury what we're looking at specifically in Exhibit 140 that they can see on the television?
Okay, at the bottom of the page is the entrance to the apartment.
And how do you denote that on the sketch?
So there's a door opening right here.
Okay, when you say right here, what does it look like? Is it
Kind of like a triangle shape along the bottom.
okay? Would you agree, ma'am, that it's the vertical line with the arc
Yes.
heading towards the left of the screen?
Yes,
Okay. And that leads into the living room?
correct.
Okay. Moving now back towards the top portion of Exhibit 141. Where are we getting into now?
Once you go through the living room, there's a peninsula for the kitchen that contains the kitchen sink. And then to the right, there's a washer and dryer closet.
Okay. And behind that, or I guess further into the apartment?
That's when you enter into the bathroom. To the right is the shower, and to the left was the toilet and the sink.
And finally, towards the very top.
That is the bedroom.
Thank you. Did you document your initial walkthrough of the residence that we see in the crime scene sketch on the screen?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 9. Who took this photograph?
I did.
And what does it generally depict?
It just shows the entrance of the apartment.
During your initial walkthrough, specifically immediately after this photograph was taken, did you have an opportunity to examine the door frame?
Yes, that's one thing we routinely do is check to see if there's any signs of forced entry.
I'm showing the jury Exhibit 36, ma'am. What types of things would you look for signs of forced entry on the door frame?
We would look for scratches or damage to the framing of the door.
Would you agree, ma'am, that there's some scratching on this door frame?
Yes.
Did you find signs of forced entry on this door?
Yes, and it's also hard to determine when those would have occurred.
Sure. Were there large dents or gouges into the door frame?
No, not that I recall. No.
Going to the actual locking mechanism of the door, Exhibit 37, did you see signs of damage to the door indicative of forced entry?
No.
Is there a method or a process that you as a crime scene investigator go through to document and process a scene?
Yes.
How do you do that?
As far as documenting with digital photographs, we'll take overall photographs of the scene, and then we'll take closer up photographs of the scene, and if items of evidence are discovered, then we'll take close-up photographs.
Do you work your way through the residence in any particular manner?
Normally we have a pattern that we'll follow. Different investigators use different patterns. In this case, it being such a small area, there was pretty much just one way to navigate through the apartment.
Okay. Do you recall what pattern or method you used to walk through the apartment?
Just started at the entrance, and like I said, it was pretty much like a shotgun apartment, and walked to the back. And from there, we were able to see, all areas of the apartment.
What items were you looking for? What kind of evidence were you looking to collect?
At the time, it was a missing person case. We were looking for any items of evidence that really didn't belong in the apartment, anything out of place, or anything that could have indicated that there could have been a crime committed there.
During your initial walkthrough, did anything catch your eye?
The first thing I noticed was the coffee table. It seemed a little out of alignment with the couch.
I'm showing Exhibit 38. Could you please explain that to the jury?
Yes, I think normally people have the coffee table pretty much centered with the couch, parallel, and it was just off angle.
What else?
Then we walked behind the couch, and I observed what I believe to be suspected blood on the floor.
Ma'am, I'm showing you Exhibit 43, and is this the location that you're describing behind the couch?
Yes.
Okay. I'm also now showing you Exhibit 80. Do you see any of the suspected blood in this photograph?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Could you point it out? Here's a laser pointer right there for you.
I believe there's some up in this area right here.
Okay. I'm now showing you Exhibit 81 and now Exhibit 82.
Yes, this area right here.
What surfaces was the blood on that you observed?
It was on the floor. It was also on some of the walls. The bathroom tile, bathroom light switch. I believe there was, I observed at least 2 areas in the bedroom. The suspected blood.
Ma'am, I'm now showing you Exhibit 59. Can you point out the suspected blood in this photograph?
Right here in this grout line, as well as in this carpet area right here.
And I'm now showing you what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 67. Do you see any suspected blood in this photograph?
It was this area right here that caught my attention.
Exhibit 68, was that a close-up of the preceding photograph?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. And in what rooms was the suspected blood located?
Living room, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, all the rooms.
Every room?
Yes.
Excuse me, Judge. Not going to be rude.
Ma'am, I'm handing you, it's pre-marked right there. It's item 141. You recognize this?
Yes, it's a carpet sample that was cut from the bedroom floor.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Did you collect that item?
Yes,
Where did you collect it from?
Jason Chen's bedroom.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, I would move to admit into evidence item 141. I'd like to take the, can I have the document projector, Your Honor? Yes, sir.
Now, ma'am, now placing on the document projector what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 141. You described earlier a paper bag, and we can all see the paper bag. What's the significance of the red item that's stapled to the top of this red bag?
That is a property tag, property and evidence department would apply that to the bag.
Okay. What is the significance of item number that we see here?
It just corresponds with the item number that's on the bag.
And does that correspond with the item number as it's introduced into property?
Yes.
Okay. When we see a description here, what's that?
It's just a brief description of what is in the bag.
So that you know what's inside the brown paper bag?
Yes.
Now we see some white tape. What does that tell the jury?
The package was sealed.
Does it mean that it potentially was opened at some point for examination?
It could have been, but they would have had to cut the seal and then reseal it.
And we see a kind of a scribble there with a Sharpie towards the center. What's that?
That's my initials.
Does that mean that, what does that mean? Placing your
means that-
initials on the seal and the bag itself.
That means that I sealed that bag.
After it was opened at some point?
Yes.
What's the significance of the white label?
That is a crime scene investigator evidence label. We apply it to all items of evidence to give a brief description of what the item is, where the item was collected, and when it was collected.
Who prepares that white label?
The crime scene investigator would.
So in this case, it says Investigator M. Johnson. That means you prepared this label.
More than likely. Sometimes when we get back to the office, other people will assist in typing up your labels.
The location of recovery, okay? If the jury were to want to, there's a lot of evidence already in evidence in this case. If they were wanting to examine a particular item of evidence and place it within a particular location, can they learn anything by looking at the location recovery?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. So the jury has received a lot of items of evidence, okay, which they'll be allowed to take back with them to review.
Okay.
If they were wanting to look for a particular item of evidence that was found in a particular location, could they do that by looking at the recovery location?
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, it says bathroom, bedroom, transition, southeast of shower. What does that mean?
That was the location given to it by me and on the evidence report. And then we will transfer that information to the evidence label.
Okay. And ma'am, you indicated that item inventory number 6 is on this label. It's also on the red card that was stapled to the other side. Could you show the jury where on the crime scene sketch that would be located?
Yes, it's right there in the doorway between the bathroom and the bedroom.
Okay, now going into our television here, where would that be?
At the upper part right there, will this laser reach up there?
It doesn't really reflect.
No.
It reflects so. Would it be right
Yes.
there where it says number 6?
Correct.
Okay. So for all the items that were collected from Jason Chen's apartment, if they wanted to find something from a particular spot, they could start by looking at the crime scene diagram,
Correct.
identifying the item number,
Yes.
and then comparing that number 6 with the number 6 that we see right there.
Correct.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm handing you what's been marked for identification as item 142. Do you recognize this item?
Yes.
What is that item, ma'am?
is a carpet sample with suspected blood, taken from Jason Chen's bedroom.
And specifically, what item number is that?
Item number 9.
We have please. So using the crime scene sketch, where is item 9?
It'll be above and to the right of number 6.
So above to the right?
Yes.
Okay, so right here next to the rectangle.
Correct.
Draw your attention now to Exhibit 68. Is there any correlation between inventory item 9, what's been marked for identification 142, and the bloody spot that you identified in Exhibit 68?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Is there any correlation between this physical item and what we see on the screen in
Yes.
Exhibit 68?
It's that area right there where the suspected blood was.
Did you remove that area of carpet?
Yes, it was cut out.
Is what you've identified as 142 the area of carpet that you removed from that location in Exhibit 68?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit item 142 into evidence.
So admitted.
And I'm handing you now this has been marked for identification as item 143. You recognize that?
Yes.
What is item 143 now?
It's a blue and red plaid shirt,
Where was that?
button down,
Where was that item recovered from?
bedroom closet.
All right, move to admit item 143.
So admitted.
All right, ma'am.
As part of your initial walkthrough, there was a ton of photographs taken. You take another set of photographs?
We also take photographs throughout the processing of the scene, and we also take photographs just prior to exiting the scene.
So there are multiple sets of photographs taken.
Yes.
When you say processing the scene, does that mean,
Searching.
okay, do you do anything else during the processing?
We'll test areas of suspected blood. We may use other processes like Blue Star to identify areas that are not visible to the naked eye.
Ma'am, I'm handing you what's going to be marked as Exhibit 144, a collective exhibit, specifically pages 1 to 9. You take a moment and familiarize yourself with those.
Okay.
Ma'am, what do those photographs generally depict?
These are photographs of the apartment once the evidence markers were laid down.
And specifically which room?
Living room, kitchen area,
So the front portion of the apartment.
yes,
So we're now focusing on the area that's shown on the screen on the television right now.
yes,
Are these photographs that you took when you conducted the search warrant?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move to admit into evidence Exhibit 144, collective 1 to 9.
So admitted.
Thank you. Now published to the jury.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with item 1 then. Oops, sorry. On the crime scene diagram, here we go. Item 1 is indicated with a circle and an arrow. What does that mean?
That's the location it was located, and the arrow probably indicates it was under the couch.
Okay. Can we see Exhibit 1 in this photograph?
Yes.
I'm now showing second page of the collective exhibit. What are we looking at here now?
It says item number 1, scrub brush.
And why would that be important, or a potential item of evidence that you would deem worthy of marking with an evidence marker?
After seeing the suspected blood throughout the apartment, it was probably believed that there was a strong possibility that there was some cleaning up done based on the amount of cleaning materials and other items that were there.
Now showing you third page of the collective exhibit. What are we looking at in this photograph?
This is suspected blood right here, beside number 2.
Zoom in so the jury can see that. Would you mind pointing it out to the jurors? And where is this adjacent to? Where is this in the crime scene?
It's behind the couch.
Okay, we're now looking at a close-up of that second evidence marker.
Yes.
Fifth page, what are we looking at here?
It's an overall photograph from item 4 to item 6. With item 3 is under the kitchen sink.
Okay, so under the kitchen sink is item number 3. What is item number 3?
There's a box of hefty trash bags, drawstring, I believe 33 gallon.
Are those what we would describe as kitchen-sized garbage bags, ma'am?
Not really, no. The kitchen does not appear to be 33 gallons.
So it's smaller, so it's mismatched.
Yes.
And I'm handing you what's been marked for identification purposes as Exhibit 145. What is this?
A box of black trash bags.
Is that the box of white trash bags that we see collected from item marker 3 on the screen?
Yes, the hefty trash bags, yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit into evidence Exhibit 145.
So admitted.
Ma'am, what color were the pull tabs for these garbage bags?
Blue.
Can you point that out to the jury?
Yeah, that's the full tab right there. And it's also indicated on the outside of the box.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm now showing you the 8th page of the collective exhibit. What is located at item 4?
It's another suspected blood stain.
Zooming in, exhibit, or the 9th page of the collective exhibit. You point that out to the jury?
Yes, this area up here.
Now, did you like a piece of carpet that was admitted into evidence as exhibit 143?
No.
You didn't pull up the floorboards?
No.
How do you process a stain like that on a surface?
We would collect what we call a suspected blood swab.
How does one collect a suspected blood swab?
Using a sterile cotton swab. We add distilled water to one of them. One is wet, one is dry. Then we will swipe over the suspected area. And then we'll place that in a sterile cardboard box. And then we'll place that inside a brown paper bag.
Is that the process that you learned through your training?
Yes,
Is that the process that you've used throughout your career as a crime scene investigator?
yes.
Hand you what's been marked for identification as number 146, specifically 1 to 8. Would you mind familiarizing yourself with those?
Okay.
What do they show, ma'am?
These are photos I took, overall photos of items of evidence in the bathroom.
Okay, so using the crime scene diagram, are we talking about this general area here?
Correct.
Do they fairly and accurately depict what you observed with your own eyes when you conducted the search warrant?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit into evidence collective exhibit 146.
So admitted.
Thank you.
Ma'am, could you please describe to the jury what we're looking at here?
Again, it's an overall photo of items marked for evidence in the bathroom. Item 5, I believe was a blood swab. 6 was a cutout of the carpet with blood. 7 was some boxer briefs, underwear.
Specifically, item 5, did you collect a sample of the reddish substance that we see immediately to the right and below Exhibit 5,
Correct?
using the process with that sterile swab that you described earlier?
Yes.
Now, what about item 6 that we see in the third page of the collected exhibit? How did you process that particular item of evidence?
Actually cut out the section of carpet and looked underneath and ensured that the blood had saturated through the carpet and the padding and to the subfloor.
And so the record is clear, the process that you just described resulted in item 6, which is Exhibit 141 to the trial.
Yes.
Thank you.
You described that there was a substance that went through from one side to the other. I'm now showing you page 4 of the collected exhibit. Could you point that out to the jury?
Yes, right here.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Did you collect the clothing article that we see in Exhibit 7, item 7 on page 5 of the collected exhibit?
Yes.
Okay, so you collected those.
Yes.
What's the significance of number 8, ma'am? That appears to be in the shower.
Yes, that's the shower drain. It had visible hair and We collected it for possible forensic evidence.
I'm now showing you the 8th page of that collective exhibit. It's a close-up. So you collected that hair?
Yes, and the drain.
Oh, so you took the actual metallic drain that we see, the circular object in the middle.
Yes, the drain cover, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. After you processed the bathroom, where did you go next?
To the bedroom.
Handy, what's been marked for identification as 174, specifically pages 1 to 6. Would you mind familiarizing yourself with that?
Okay.
What do they show?
Overall photographs of items marked for evidence in the bedroom.
Do they fairly and accurately show what you collected at the crime scene
Yes,
from the bedroom?
yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit into evidence 147.
147.
As collected exhibit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, so we have here exhibit 9, or evidence marker 9, evidence marker 10. Evidence marker 9 is that carpet piece that we have here as exhibit 142 to the trial.
Yes.
What is item 10?
It's a button with a small piece of material attached to it.
Now showing you the second page of the collective exhibit, and I'm going to skip ahead to the third page. I'm sorry, the fourth page of the collective exhibit. What was on about that? Why did you mark that as a possible item of evidence, and did you in fact collect that?
Yes, I did collect it. It was definitely out of place. The button possibly could have been torn from the shirt since the material was still attached to it.
To your knowledge, did you ever find an article of clothing that was connected to that button?
No.
Now showing you the fifth page of the collective exhibit. What are we looking at here?
Item number 11 was a knife that was on the bed.
Handing you what's been marked for identification purposes as item 148. You recognize this item?
Yes.
What is that item?
It's a gray knife that I collected from the bed.
Okay. That we can see there towards the center of the photograph on the screen in page
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to be admitted to evidence the knife shown in exhibit, I'm sorry, next to evidence marker 11 in collective exhibit 5.
Exhibit 148.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sir.
I'd like to ask you about the orientation of the bed in this photograph. What wall is that bed up against?
I believe it's the north wall.
What you would describe as the north wall?
Yes, north wall of the bedroom.
Okay. Zooming out on the crime scene sketch, there's an N with an arrow pointing down. You see that?
Correct.
What's the significance of the N with the arrow?
Showing the direction of north.
So, I'm sorry, I can't scroll from the television. So going to the bedroom, the north wall would be where on the crime scene sketch?
It would be the lower wall of the bedroom.
The wall separating the bedroom from the bathroom?
Correct.
Now, when you conducted your initial walkthrough and your search, did you know prior to your search the normal orientation of the furniture in this bedroom?
No.
I'm now showing you what's been embedded into evidence as one moment, Joe.
Yes, sir.
As Exhibit 73. Do you see the green tapestry on the wall?
Yes.
Do you see the markings on the wall to the lower left of the tapestry?
Yes.
And do you see the bed that we saw in the collective exhibit just a moment ago, where item 11 was?
Yes.
Orient the jury to that.
As far as the headboard is up here on this wall.
Okay. So if where that wall is the north wall, what wall would you call the one with the tapestry on it?
The east wall.
The east wall. What is adjacent to the bed along the corner where the east wall intersects the north wall?
The nightstand.
I'm showing you what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 74. You see that?
Yes.
I'm now showing you what's been admitted into evidence, ma'am, as Exhibit 72. Okay. Particularly, I'd like to draw your attention to the intersection of the east wall with, I guess, the south wall. Is that, you see that right there?
Yes.
Where would the south wall be for the jury?
Right here.
Okay, so where the blinds are, the vertical blinds,
Correct.
okay, where there's an electrical outlet.
Yes.
Now, when you're conducting your initial walkthrough, did you notice those marks towards the corner?
We did not know.
What would those marks be indicative of in your training and experience?
It could be one.
It does call for opinion or speculation. I'm assuming that's the objection.
Yes, sir.
You might answer that.
Yes, Your Honor, it's within the scope of everyday observation and common sense. Someone who leaves some kind of cross carpet for an extended period of time.
Okay. So it's not about what the substance of the carpet would be, just the indentations in the carpet?
Yes, that there's not a city.
Here, Mary Roach.
Yes.
Ma'am, what do those lines on the carpet indicate to you?
They do look like indentions in the carpet where furniture could have been prior.
Thank you, ma'am. In addition to the collection of the items that we have seen in the various collective exhibits with evidence markers, specifically collective exhibit showing close-up of the knife, number 6 for the record. Did you place additional evidence markers, 12, 13, 14, 15, at this crime scene?
No.
Why is that, ma'am?
We don't normally do that. Anything we collect after the initial is discovered during the search or when additional information is gathered, and we don't necessarily work them with evidence markers.
So, did you collect additional items of evidence labeled 12, and higher from Mr. Chen's apartment,
Yes,
but we don't have any pictures with little evidence markers.
correct.
Additional items that you collected, like the swabs, do you mark them in any particular manner?
If we don't use evidence markers, we may document it with scale tape, or we could document it with just photos.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked for identification is Exhibit 149, specifically items 1 to 13. You familiarize yourself with those.
Okay.
What are those items, ma'am?
There are photographs of suspected blood.
Are they marked in the manner that you indicated with
Yes.
with
With the,
tape?
scale tape, yes.
Scale tape? Your Honor, I move to admit into evidence 149, 1 through 13.
So moved.
Okay. Can I publish?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now, in this case, ma'am, I'm showing you collected exhibit 149-1. Can you point out the scale tape for the jury?
This is the scale tape right here.
What's the yellow item below it?
It's just another measurement, either from the ceiling or from the floor.
Now, ma'am, it appears as though one of the scales is bigger than the other. Can you explain that?
Well, this one is in inches, I believe this
When
one
you
is
say this one,
the yellow one.
The yellow one is in inches,
Yes,
and what's the white one?
I believe centimeters.
Centimeters, okay. And I see something
Right below the centimeter scale, and I'll zoom in for the jury.
there's like a marking, dark marking in the center. What's that?
I believe that's the letter A.
Okay. In this case, did you mark the, I guess, the blood transfers and blood swipes that we see on the screen?
Yes.
Letters?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you collect a sample from the light switch that we see here as A?
I believe so, but I would have to check the evidence report.
Okay,
I collected several blood swabs.
all right. Did you collect a blood swab from the bedroom light switch?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And if that was the first blood swab, would that be indicated with a particular letter?
Not necessarily on the, it would be A.
Would be A?
Yes.
Okay. Now showing you collective 2. I'm sorry, 149, page 2. Specifically, right there. Can you describe what we're looking at to the jury?
It appears to be another blood transfer.
On what surface?
The door frame.
What is a blood transfer while we're talking about that?
It's just any time blood is transferred from one surface to another.
Okay. And where is this in the apartment?
It's the door going into the bedroom from the bathroom.
Okay. Would that be shown as, I believe, 13 on the crime scene diagram?
Yes.
Okay. Is that a close-up of the same blood transfer?
Yes.
And for the record, 149.3. Were there blood transfers adjacent to the bed that you recall?
Yes, there was one just inside the doorway of the bedroom.
I'm now showing you 149.4. It's kind of a blurry photograph, so we'll go on to 149.5. What are we looking at there?
It is a blood stain.
blood stain. Would you call that a transfer as well?
Could possibly be a transfer, but looks more like a drop.
A drop?
Yes.
Okay. And why would you say it looks more like a drop than a transfer?
It doesn't look like a smear or a swipe.
Going back to 149.1, how would you describe that?
That is more of a smear or a swipe.
So when we go back to 149.5, that looks like what you described as a drop.
Where blood could have been dropped from a higher point.
Yeah. Pooled on the molding.
Yes.
Thank you. And would that be what we see as item 14?
Yes.
Moving on, where are we now standing? Where is this photograph taken?
Standing in the bathroom and shooting towards the bedroom.
For the record, Judge, this is 149.6. I'm going to show you 149.7. How would you describe the substance that we see there next to the letter D?
It's a blood stain, possibly a transfer.
Okay. Is that taken at marker 15 on the crime scene diagram?
Yes.
149.8. What is this?
That is the bathroom door.
Leading from where to where?
This is the kitchen area, and then this is the bathroom, so kitchen.
So this is the door from the bathroom to the kitchen.
Correct.
Showing you 149.9. You see that?
Yes.
Could you describe to the jury what that is?
That's also a blood stain, possibly a transfer.
Did you search that door for other blood stains?
Yes, please so.
Would that be shown as number 16 on the diagram?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Okay. Now, that first one that we just looked at just a moment ago in 149.9 was immediately below the locking mechanism. Is there another blood transfer that you found on the door?
There was this one here, and there was also one higher.
Okay. 149.11, is that a close-up of the one that you said was up higher?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall finding any other blood transfers on the door?
Not that I recall.
Going now to 149.12. What are we looking at with this?
This is the bathroom area, that's the kitchen area, and that's the bathroom vanity, and that's the trim for the bathroom door.
Okay. Showing you 141.13. What do we see there?
Blood stain, possibly a blood drop.
Possibly a blood drop. And would that be at evidence marker 18?
Yes.
Thank you. After you collected samples of the substances that we see in collected exhibit 149, did you continue your search?
Yes.
Now showing you
Yours is about 10:30. We'll take a mid-morning break, probably about 15 minutes or so.
And then I'm handing you what's going to be marked for identification purposes as 150, collective 1 through 18. Familiarize yourself with those.
Anybody wants to stand and stretch while we're just looking at the pictures, feel free to do so.
Okay.
What's shown in those photographs, ma'am?
These were additional photographs taken during the search process of items of potential evidence.
Do they fairly and accurately depict what you observed?
Yes.
Now I move into evidence. What's considered 150?
Was it 1 through?
1 through 18.
So is it?
I see a green hat in this photograph, or maybe it's gray. Do you see that?
Yes.
And this is 151. Was there anything of evidentiary value on the hat?
There was a red stain on it, so we collected it.
That red stain, is it shown in 152?
Yes.
And for the record, going back to 1, would this be in between the bed and the east wall?
Correct.
-150-3. What are we looking at here?
I believe these were sweatpants that were located inside the washer machine.
Showing you what's been admitted into evidence as 150-4.
Now, could you please point out to the jury where the sweatpants are in this photograph?
Yes, they're right here with the red stain.
There's a white object with what appears to be an ear behind the gray sweatpants with the red stain. What is that?
That would be Investigator Brown.
One of the crime scene investigators?
Yes.
Just holding up the pants
Correct.
for a clear photograph?
Yes.
In addition to continuing to process the crime scene, did you find any glass?
Yes.
And you what's been marked for identification purposes as Exhibit 151. Do you recognize this item?
Yes.
What is that item?
They are glass fragments.
Where were these glass fragments found?
They were located kind of between item number 2 and 4. I actually didn't notice them until I was trying to document a blood stain on the floor and using oblique lighting. And that's when I noticed the glass fragments.
What do you mean by oblique lighting?
Just lighting from different angles.
So you used a different angle of light, and did you observe, like, I guess, a glint of the glass?
Correct, and they were very small,
Very small?
very small.
Did you collect them?
Yes,
Did you collect all the glass that you could observe?
yes, believe so, yes.
What do you have in your hand?
Glass fragments,
All the glass that you could find in the crime scene?
yes.
And specifically, what's the item number?
Item 22,
Which, using the crime scene diagram, where would that have been located?
just to the right of the kitchen peninsula,
So, right here, where I'm pointing,
yes.
there's a pair of gloves there, ma'am, and I have a pair of scissors. If I could ask you to get this glove up and empty the contents of that. Are those the fragments you collected from the apartment?
Yes.
All right, move to admit into evidence item 151.
So then,
Ma'am,
do you object? No, I just admit this, he hasn't objected to it yet.
no, what's it?
I don't have to admit this if you haven't objected to it at this point.
I just want to see it.
Okay. Any objection?
No.
To 151.
Can I get you to kind of fold up the sides to make like a little bowl for us?
Those are the fragments?
Yes,
Any clue what that came from?
I do not.
Are they, would you describe them as large?
They were very small.
Did you find, I guess, the stem of a wine glass?
No.
Is this a stem of a wine glass?
Objection. She already asked an answer. He asked if she knew what it was, and she said no.
Seems like it's calling for an opinion.
Again, it's been random and observation.
I think the size of those fragments being so small would be very speculative. She would guess what it was unless she knows. You have to lay a foundation for that. So at this point, that's the thing.
Thank you. And would you mind placing those back into the exhibit?
As part of your search of Mr. Chen's apartment, did you have an opportunity to locate a gray hoodie?
Yes.
Where is that gray hoodie located?
I believe it was either on the bed at one time, and then it may have made its way to the floor. A lot of times we get additional information while we're processing the scene, and we may not know exactly what we're looking for. And then we get additional information from the detectives. But I believe this gray hoodie that I collected was originally on the bed. It may have been moved during the search, and then we got information about collecting a gray hoodie. So we would have collected it. It may not have been in its original location. Regardless, it was inside Jason Chen's bedroom.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm handing you, it's been marked for identification purposes as Exhibit 152. You recognize it's been marked for identification as 152.
Yes, it's a gray hoodie.
That you collected from Mr. Chen's apartment?
Correct.
Your Honor, I would move to admit into evidence
The gray hoodie.
So 152.
Ma'am, would you mind opening? That's it.
It's about 15 to 11 months.
I think we're nearing the end of the
Okay, if I stand.
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, this is marked on the packaging as Exhibit 42.
Where was this gray hooded sweatshirt collected from on the crime scene diagram?
It's shown it was on the bedroom floor.
Okay. And specifically, where on the diagram?
Correct, on the right-hand side, near the top.
So right there, number 42?
Yes.
I'm now showing the jury, if I could have DVD judge.
Sir. Now showing the jury Exhibit 65 already in evidence. The gray hoodie that you have in your hand, is that the gray hoodie that, or the gray object that we see on the floor adjacent to the, I guess, the armoire cabinet?
Honestly, I do not believe that is this.
Oh, it's a different gray hoodie?
Yes. I believe this one was originally on the bed. It was moved during the search. And we got requested to collect the gray hoodie. And at that time, it would have been on the floor at the foot of the bed.
So, but it did come from Mr. Chen's bedroom?
Yes.
At 110 Tremont Street,
Yes.
apartment 210. Thank you, ma'am. You can place that back in the bag. Ma'am, we also have what will be marked for identification as Exhibit 153. This side. You recognize it?
Yes.
What is this item?
It was a gray sweatshirt.
Okay. Does it have a brand associated with it?
I believe it's J. Crew.
And where was this collected inside Mr. Chen's apartment?
I believe investigator Booker collected this. It was in the bedroom.
Okay.
And specifically which item? Number 45?
Yes.
Okay. Which would be
In the same area?
Yes.
Okay.
Originally, I believe this was probably in the closet hanging up.
originally closet hanging.
Collected from Mr. Chen's apartment during the search warrant.
Yes.
Your Honor, I move into evidence 153.
So,
And may I publish to the jury by opening the exhibit?
yes, sir.
If you could open the exhibit, ma'am.
Turn it around the other direction. Ma'am, is there a zipper down the front?
Yes.
Does the zipper run all the way?
No.
Is it what we would call a, I guess, a quarter zip?
Yes.
Is it in fact a J. Crew hoodie? Or not hoodie, sweatshirt?
So investigator Booker collected this. Then I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you, though. You can place it back in the bag. In addition to searching the interior of the apartment at 110 Tremont Street, did you search the exterior?
Yes.
Specifically, ma'am, did you search a dumpster area?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been admitted into evidence as
Collected Exhibit 83-1. Are you familiar with this location?
Yes.
What is that location?
It's the apartment complex dumpster.
Going on to the next picture in that collected exhibit 183-2. Is that the condition of the inside of that dumpster enclosure as you found it on the day you executed the search warrant with Investigator Crawford?
Yes.
Okay. And 183-3, 183-4. Ma'am, there's a question about what the bluish item is that's peeking out from under the blue jeans. Can you identify that for us?
Looks like maybe vent air freshener for a vehicle.
Okay. Zooming back out, did you collect any of the items shown inside collected exhibit 183-4?
Yes, I collected the blue jeans, the underwear, the sanitary pad, and a pair of white shoes.
Ma'am, I'm handing you what's going to be marked for identification as 154. You recognize this?
Yes, the underwear collected outside the dumpster.
Would you please point out to the jury where that is in the photograph?
Right here.
Thank you, ma'am. I move to admit 154 into evidence.
So moved.
and he has been marked for identification as 155.
This is the sanitary pad that was located outside the dumpster. Right here.
Move to admit and that's the same one? Move to admit 155.
So admitted.
This is 156 for identification. Can you identify that for the jury?
Pair of blue jeans.
Shown in that picture.
Yes.
Move to admit into evidence item number 156, the blue jeans. Thank you, Finally, it's been marked for identification as 157. Can you identify that for the jury?
A pair of white tennis shoes. I believe they were Vans. Right here.
Left and right?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Move to admit into evidence 157, white tennis shoes.
So admitted.
I think this would be a good break.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not quite a mid-morning break, it's a late morning break. We're going to take one, 5 minutes to 11. We'll be back at 5 minutes after 11 for the jury time.